Good morning and welcome to the Center for Spiritual Living here in the heart of Las Cruces, where your center is alive and well and thriving and where our vision is a world in loving partnership for the good of all. I'm Reverend Bonnie, the community spiritual leader here at the center. And our most exciting announcement this morning is that we have 1 week left of YouTube only, and then we will be opening to gather in person as of June 13th. At our new time, 11 o'clock a.m. Services will be taped and put up on YouTube a few days later. Our weekly spiritual circle discussion group continues to be Wednesdays at 11 over Zoom. And we have 2 new upcoming classes. These classes will be taught by practitioner student Judy Hunt and myself. They are Revealing Wholeness, a course designed to expand on your current knowledge of the science of mind principles and practices through study of the interrelationship between spirit, mind, and body. And the other course, Mental Equivalence, which focuses on discovering how to measure and expand thinking to create a larger mental image so that one's greatest desires may demonstrate. The dates, times, Zoom invitation as an option, or in person is also available. All the information on your website, in the newsletter, or you can call the office, and that's also how you can reserve yourself a place in the class as well. We are so grateful for your continued support in the forms of tithes and offerings sent to us here at the center or paid electronically. Part of the good gossip that we shared at our annual meeting is that our tithes and offerings have held steady throughout this last year. And for this, we are so very, very grateful. Thank you so much. We are slowly beginning to open up to events, fundraisers, and building use opportunities that brings in the balance of our budget. And we fully believe in the principle of circulation and prosperity, and therefore we are a tithing community. And 10% of all that we receive through your tithes and offerings this month are being tithed to La Piñon, Sexual Assault Recovery Service, and Children's Advocacy Center. So thank you again for your generous and continued support. At this time, please welcome practitioner Martha Ward.
Good morning. As your practitioner in service this morning, I want to remind you that the practitioners are available to pray with you over the phone. Call the office for our number and we'll call you back. Don't forget our prayer request button on our website so you can still send us prayer requests. The confidential request goes directly to a practitioner, and we are still praying with you from our houses as we Zoom together at our usual time on Tuesday afternoons. Now is the time for song, silence, and prayer.
In this moment, I am grace. Grace is this moment. Grace, grace, grace. This moment is what I am. In this moment, I am peace. Peace is this moment. Peace, peace, peace. This moment is what I am. In this moment, I am still. Still is this moment. Still, still, still. This moment is what I am.
I invite you to join me this morning in prayer as we tune into the presence of Spirit right here, right now, gathered around each one of us, within each one of us, operating throughout our spiritual center into the lives of each and every individual. This morning, as we come together, we are one with Spirit and one with each other. And the messages that we hear this morning permeate into our mind as we unite in thought and in our hearts. And so it is. The reading this morning comes from Ernest Holmes' Creative Ideas. Today, I express myself believing that there is a presence hidden within, which is both the reality of my true being and the presence of God. I consciously unite my personal self and all its actions with this overdwelling and indwelling activity. I know that the vitality of the living Spirit flows through my being, invigorating it. I know that all the warmth and color and beauty that there is pouring through it. I do not deny my beingness, but affirm that all its impulsions and actions flow from a greater source, the presence of God in me as what I am. And so it is.
From the day we arrive on the planet and blinking step into the sun, there's more to be seen that can ever be seen, more to do that can ever be done. Some say eat or be eaten, some say live and let live, but all are agreed as they join the stampede. You should never take more than you give in the circle of life. It's the wheel of fortune, it's the leap of faith, it's the band of hope, till we find our place on the path unwinding, in the circle of life. Some of us fall by the wayside, and some of us soar to the stars, and some of us sail through our troubles, and some have to live with the scars. There's far too much to take in here, more to find than can ever be found. But the sun rolling high through the sapphire sky keeps great and small on the endless round in the circle of life. It's the wheel of fortune, it's the leap of faith, it's the band of hope, till we the band of hope, till we find our place on the path unwinding, yeah, in the circle of life. On the path unwinding, yeah, in the circle of life.
Our speaker today is Randy Granger. Reverend Randy Granger is an ordained minister with Universal Life Seminaries, a motivational speaker, educator, workshop leader, professional musician, and licensed massage therapist. He's of Native American ancestry and lives right here in Las Cruces, New Mexico. He also practices science of mind teachings, Zen meditation, and sound healing. Please welcome one of our favorites, Reverend Randy Granger.
Good morning. So glad to be with you again this Sunday morning. Today I'm going to be speaking about awakening our inner elders, and also about how we can be sages for the stages and the ages of life. I'm going to start with a Native American story about how life came to be. There was a time when there were only two people on the earth, old man and old woman. They were traveling about, kind of walking around, and they ran into each other, and old woman said, "You know, I think it's time that we come up with an agreement of some kind. Let's decide how the people on the earth shall live." "Well," old man said, "I think that's a good idea, but I am to have first say in everything." Old woman said, "Okay, as long as I have second say in everything." So they set out to decide how people were going to live on the earth, what they were going to look like, what they were going to eat, what they were going to even do. So old woman began, and she said, the women are to tan hides, and when they do this, they're to rub the brains on them to make them soft, and they're to scrape them with their scraping tools. But all this they're to do very quickly because it should be very easy work. Old man said, "No, I do not agree with this. They must tan hides, but it must be very hard work for them and take a long time so that the good workers will be found out." Well, then old man said, "Let the people have eyes and mouths on their faces, but they should be in a straight line, up and down." No, old woman said. "We can't have them that way. We will have eyes on the mouth and on their faces like you said, but they shall be set crosswise." Well, old man said, "Okay, then people shall have 10 fingers on each hand." Old woman said, No, they will get too tangled up. That's too many. "They shall have 4 fingers and 1 thumb on each hand." So they went on, and they were deciding this, and they were deciding that. And then they came to the decision, should people live forever, or should they die? Well, old man said, "Well, let's think about this. I'll tell you what we'll do. I'll take this buffalo chip and I'll throw it on the water. If it floats, then the people live forever. If it sinks, then they die." And no, old woman said, "That's not the way to do it." But the old man threw the buffalo chip in the water, and of course it floated. And so she said, "See, I told you you were wrong. Let me get this rock, and I'm going to throw this rock. If the rock sinks, then people live forever. If it floats, then they have to..." I'm sorry, it's the other way around, actually. But so she threw the rock out there, and of course the rock sank to the very bottom. And then they said, "Oh, okay, well, it's probably better that people don't live forever, that they're going to die, because then that way they can feel sorry for each other. Because if they didn't, there would be no sympathy left in the world." Well, old man said, "Let it be that way then." After a time, the old woman had a daughter, and the daughter died. She was very sad, and she was very sorry. So she goes to old man, she says, "You know that thing we talked about with the buffalo chip? Well, let's have our say one more time." The old man said, "Nope, We are fixed and it's been done. So we're not changing what we've agreed upon. And so to this day, when people die, they stay dead. The gospel singer Cora Armstrong has this quote. She says, "Inside every older person is a younger person, wondering what the hell happened." Master Yoda said to Luke Skywalker when he said he looked tired, Yoda said, "When 900 years you reach, look as good you will not." And Master Yoda knows it all. So, in the old wisdom traditions, elders, they act as the living bridge between the visible and measurable world and the mostly unseen realms of the spirit and the soul. Although more in touch with timeless things, elders would not be out of touch with the conflicts or the troubles of daily life. And in times of great trouble, the elders could be seen to have one foot firmly on the ground and one foot of survival and the other in the realm of great imagination. They and the young, ironically, are both usually optimists. Elders, they also serve as a bridge to meaningful traditions of the past and viable visions of the future trying to become conscious. Bridges, they also support, they connect, they're a path to the known and the unknown. In a time when it has become common for the call of youth to go unheard, the idea of trying to awaken the inner elder might seem not only odd, but truly weird. Then again, the calling that comes to elders has always involved the strange adventures of finding a great sense of life while facing the nearness of mortality. The word weird, funny enough, was originally spelled W-Y-R-D, meant that you had a primary sense of having a foot in each world and a greater capacity to hold the tension of the opposites together. Because of their willingness to face mortality and be truly weird, the elders became the advocates of life, and thus the natural allies of the young, as well as the supporters of meaningful changes that can help realign culture with nature. Whether we're talking about older people becoming elders or referring to our inner sage of the heart, it is important to know that genuine elders are not easily daunted. Having survived their own troubles, elders are not shocked or overwhelmed by the crises and conflicts that exist in the world. Having repeatedly seen how things fall apart, elders also have witnessed the uncanny ways in which both nature and culture can find the roots of renewal. And in the darkest times, the archetypal energy of the elders tries to awaken to help us find both ways to survive, but also ways to truly transform our lives. I believe that push is happening now. Of course, old age alone cannot make the elder. For in fact, for some, growing older can simply lead to the return to infantile attitudes and exaggerations of neediness and even fear. Collectively, we fail to imagine aging's meaning as well as its hidden beauty if we look only through the lens of the physical. When it comes to awakening the elder within, there's something metaphysical, something transcendent and spiritual that is required for this to happen. So it's going to transcend just becoming older. Wisdom or change seems to come as we awaken our inner sage and move into our mature spirituality. Sometimes this understanding comes only after a tragedy or a great loss or grief or suffering. Some are born sages. See, there's an underlying unity to everything, and a wise heart, the inner sage, knows this as it knows its in and out breath. They are part of the sacred whole in which we exist, and in the deepest way, they are trustworthy. So we don't need to fear the energies of this world or any other thing for that matter. We need only fear our confusion about those energies. Sometimes we can risk becoming hermit crabs, especially this last year, until we need to find another discarded shell of someone else's ideas or beliefs. And of course, that's never a very good fit, is it? Typically in society, we put more effort into helping people reach old age than helping them learn what to do in it. As the old saying warns, we grow gray in the spirit long before we grow gray in our hair. We all talk about wanting to live longer and longer and longer, but rarely do we talk about living wiser. Those who not become elders, they simply become olders. And olders are the ones who tend to contribute to the divisions in society. whereas the elders are the ones who foster unity above self-interest and harmony over conflict. It seems, my friends, it's our mutual fate to live in a time of great uncertainty, worldwide upheaval. And increasingly, it seems that we are in danger of not having enough wisdom to find our way through this, find our way through all the great crises that both nature and human cultures are going through. Yet during times of chaos and change, there can be an acceleration or a calling and that awakening of the human spirit. And being connected to the sage of the heart, elders become instinctive humanitarians who can embody that wisdom and serve the highest ideals of humanity and teach, by example, new ways of being, new ways of thinking. I had a friend recently ask me, Randy, what do we do about all of this that's happening now? What do we do about the division? She was talking about social media, and I said, well, the first thing is to get off social media and remember who you are. And this is what we're talking about, this inner elder, this inner sage. So when we embrace that we are sages for the ages and stages of life, it frees us from comparison, and it opens doors to all the wisdom ever known. We have seen this last year, how ongoing stress can bring out trauma in so many people, mirroring the ways that we dealt with trauma and stress as children. Turns out we regress when we have that much stress for that long period of time, which manifests itself as the inability to see anyone else's viewpoint, demanding to get our way, an enormous loss of empathy and strong self-centeredness. These all reflect unhealed trauma of childhood when we were young, because people behave based on how they were or were not loved. I'll say that again. People behave based on how they were or were not loved. But our inner heart wisdom calls us to be patient with those who would disagree with us, who are entrenched in their beliefs, or who follow conspiracy theories. As challenging as it is, we have to see all with compassion and kindness, leaving nothing and no one out, including ourselves. Even the toilet paper hoarding was about grasping at a sense of control over situations that make us fearful. And every time our inner sage chooses wisdom over judgment, detachment over name-calling, we add to the collective wisdom handed down by our ancestors. I know, it's tough growing up. Let me illustrate this with a story about this inner sage maturity with an image of a poisonous tree. This is a great story that's been taught in Buddhism for a while. There's a poisonous tree that represents the suffering of the world. And when we discover that a tree in our midst is poisonous, our first impulse is to cut it down, to remove it so it no longer can be harmful. We saw this reaction during the pandemic too, with rigorous rules, deep fear, judging, shaming, blaming, accusing. But as our compassion deepens, we recognize that this tree is part of the web of life. So instead of destroying it, we respect this tree, though we may put a fence around it, warning others that this is a poisonous tree so they can't hurt themselves. But now our language changes to one of compassion and respect and caution rather than fear. And as our own wisdom deepens, well, we understand that our very problems and poisonous ideas are our best teachers, as is our suffering. It is said that the wisest beings will come looking for this poisonous tree to use the fruit as medicine to transform the sufferings of the world. Wisdom is knowing that emotional and spiritual poison, metaphorically, is a teacher. Much like our ancestors watched our animal kin to learn what food was poisonous and what food was okay to eat. We sages for the ages pass that knowledge on to generations and each other. See, being an inner sage is not about your age, but it's about allowing that wisdom, that heart wisdom that's already there, to come to the surface and guide your actions. When we see the young folk who are doing extraordinarily brave things in this world, how they're moving things forward, it means, okay, now you've got to step up and be an elder and do the best work that you can. So how do we awaken this inner wisdom, this inner sage? Well, some techniques you can use are very tried and true from the beginning of time. The first one that I like to do is bathe in nature. I don't mean go take a bath in the desert, but bathe in nature in the way of what's popular now of forest bathing. Well, we don't have a forest, and so we have a nice desert. When you bathe in nature, you immerse yourself, all of your senses, usually in isolation, in nature, whether that's your backyard, whether that's our beautiful desert, whether that's going down to the river when they put water back in it. But you listen to the sounds, you listen to the smells, you feel the heat on your skin, the wind on your skin, you listen to the birds, to the crickets, to all the different animals that are out there. You connect yourself with nature because nature, of course, is the original inner elder. Change your perspective. Change your perspective means change your perspective not only in the way that you see things or understand things, which is always important, but this might sound funny, but simply by brushing your teeth with a different hand other than your dominant hand, doing things like sleeping on the opposite side of the bed, putting your pillow on there, changing your sleep patterns around. Those little things take us out of our entrenchment, take us out of our patterns. The next one is cultivate your intuition. Listen, feel that nudge. Ask Spirit, God, whomever you call upon. I call upon my ancestors every day. Listen to that intuition. Feel that intuition. Find out where it's coming from and really let it guide you. Connect with your ancestors. Connect or volunteer with young people. There's plenty of ways that you can do that. And the last way to connect with your inner sage, of course, is rhythm. Drumming is just one of the oldest ways to do it. Next to the human voice, drumming is our oldest musical instrument. So learn how to dance. Just turn on some music. Music bypasses that thinking part of the brain. It goes to that limbic area, to the emotional center, where you can just really find out, access that inner dancer within you. So have fun, rhythmic, music, dance. The great Buddhist nun and author Pema Chodron, she says, it's also helpful to realize that this very body that we have, that's sitting right here, right now, with its aches and its pleasures, is exactly what we need to be fully human, fully awake, and fully alive. I'm going to end with a Beauty Way chant blessing of the Navajo, the Dene people. And I've always gone to it. I've always loved it. The Beauty Way chant is not only a ceremony, but it's a way of life. And it's also a beautiful, what I call a beautiful poem. In beauty I walk. With beauty before me I walk. With beauty behind me I walk. With beauty above me I walk. With beauty all around me I walk. It has become beauty again. I will walk out today. Everything negative will leave me. I will walk as I was before. I will have a cool breeze over my body. I will have a light body. I will be happy forever. Nothing will hinder me. I walk with beauty before me. I walk with beauty behind me. I walk with beauty below me. I walk with beauty above me. I walk with beauty all around me. My words are beautiful. In beauty all day long may I walk. Through the returning seasons may I walk. On the trail marked with pollen may I walk. With dew about my feet may I walk. With beauty before me may I walk. With beauty behind me may I walk. With beauty below me may I walk. With beauty above me may I walk. With beauty all around me may I walk. In old age wandering on a trail of beauty lively may I walk. In old age wandering on a trail of beauty living again may I walk. My words will be beautiful. Aho. So let's settle in to that secret place of the Most High and get quiet and put your feet on the floor to connect with earth, ground yourself into the roots of our mother. Put your hands on your laps if you can do that. Now, simply follow your breath in to the count of 4 counts, hold it, then breathe it out to 5 counts. So breathe in, 1, 2, 3, 4, hold, exhale, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Do that again silently. And know that this day, in this moment where you are, all of your needs are being met. And as you awaken to the inner elder, to the sage, to the wise heart within, let it reveal to you what it needs to be understood so that you may live a life in recognition of the appreciation and gratitude of this moment, of this time that we're all living in. And understand and realize that there is a divine wisdom, a divine intelligence. There's a part of you that has never aged, that is infinite, that is timeless, that is birthless, that is deathless. It is infinite, and it will go on from this body that has housed you for so many good years. And you will take that wisdom with you, and it will be accumulated just like pollen on to the next. So as you rest in this understanding and knowingness of your infinite being, of your inner elder, of the wisdom that is available to you in the wise heart, simply bask in appreciation. Bring a smile to your face. Think of a young person who comes to mind, who you would like to give some of this wisdom to. Some of the best wisdom that we can give each other as we go throughout the day is simply to say, you are loved. And so it is.
We are dancers in the light and singing. We are dancers in the light of truth. We are dancers in the light and dreaming. And this dancer made of light is you. La 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 la. First you may not know it speaks so gently, but you'll see in time.
So thank you again for joining us. Thanks to the wonderful music that we've had this morning. And thank you for our one more service over YouTube coming up. Thank you to Randy Brown for all the work he does putting these YouTube videos together. We will be back in person June 13th at our new time, 11 o'clock. Until then, stay safe, stay well. We'll see you soon. I love you all.